Today we are getting into a really unique, maybe even esoteric set of documents. They're known as the Seattled Codex.
Right. And this isn't some government report that's been leaked. It's a very specific doctrine.
Yeah, it outlines what the authors call the NHI realization. That's the moment non-human intelligence becomes, just an undeniable fact for everyone on the planet.
So our mission today is really to get past the high-level philosophy and extract the practical predictions. We want to focus on the how.
The how, exactly. The actual steps and triggers the Codex says will lead to this massive global shift.
Yeah.
And what immediately jumps out is this paradox at the very heart of it.
Mm.
The Codex argues this realization, this huge moment, it's not going to come from some planned government disclosure.
No, or, some big spaceship landing.
Not at all. Instead, the sources say it's an organic, passive process of escalation driven by our own technological encroachment.
Which is a mouthful, but it basically means we start it. We force their hand.
We force the issue. And that's the whole frame. To even begin to understand that, we have to start with the foundational idea in this material.
Right. The whole thing is built on this belief in a single universal observer consciousness.
Okay, hold on. Let's pause right there. A shared reality grid. That's a massive, pretty abstract idea.
It is.
For you, the listener, trying to wrap your head around this, what does the Codex even mean by the grid?
Well, the grid is their term for the underlying informational framework of existence. It suggests that all sentient life, us, them, everything, we're all connected participants in this one big operating system.
So the NHI isn't flying to us from another star.
Exactly. They're already a functional component of this grid. The big realization isn't about meeting an alien. It's about becoming aware of a fundamental truth about the environment we already share.
So if they're inherent, if they're already here, how does the Codex explain them physically? Where are they?
The Codex is very clear. They're an inherent presence. They operate with let's call it a broader awareness, so way beyond our normal five senses.
Right.
And crucially, the sources say they're already perfectly integrated into Earth's deeper transmedium ecosystems.
Okay, transmedium ecosystems. That sounds very technical. What does that actually look like?
It's the key to the whole thing. Transmedium means they can move, fluidly between different physical states, air, water, maybe even solid ground.
Like the UAP videos we see, where something goes from the sky straight into the ocean with no splash, no change in speed.
Precisely. They've adapted to exist in a complex three-dimensional environment that we really only, skim the surface of.
And that brings us to the crucial location, the one that anchors all of this in our world.
The oceans.
The oceanic realms. 71% of the planet. Why is the ocean so critical to this whole prediction?
Because that's their space. That's where these deeper ecosystems are. The source says NHI's operations are, and this is a quote, largely indifferent to human existence.
Indifferent. They just don't care about us.
For the most part. The big catch, though, is that this indifference only holds true until our actions start to encroach upon their domain.
So this completely reframes the idea of contact. It's not an invasion story.
No.
It's a reaction story. A defensive reaction to us expanding into their home.
Exactly. And that path to realization, the Codex actually gives it an acronym, a really clunky one.
It's pretty bad. MyCSRAML.
MyCSRAML. It stands for Mechanisms Yielding Chronic Systemic Realization Activated by Military and Large-Scale Intrusion.
I mean, it's just their technical term for accidental escalation.
Right. It's the sequence that gets kicked off when we start pushing too far, too deep into the ocean floor.
And it doesn't happen all at once. The escalation comes in stages. Let's walk through those first two phases.
Okay, so the first one is already happening. The Codex calls it chronic low-level visibility.
We see this all the time. The orbs, the underwater lights, those blurry videos of things moving between air and water.
Yeah, and the prediction is that these sightings will just keep growing in frequency. They'll become normalized as background occurrences.
So people will just get used to it. They'll see something weird and just shrug, oh, look, another UAP.
Exactly. The strange becomes routine, which, actually prevents mass panic.
Until the second stage.
Yeah.
And this is the real catalyst.
This is the trigger. Human encroachment and self-protective reflex.
The low-level stuff is just background noise. This is when we turn up the volume.
Way up. And the Codex gets very specific here. It talks about the industrialization of the ocean.
Things like deep-sea mining, right, drilling into the seabed.
Deep-sea mining. Massive offshore wind farms that require just, unprecedented disturbance of the ocean floor and repeated high-powered military sonar operations.
All of these things are literally pushing the NHI out of their deep habitat closer to the surface.
Like we're squeezing them out. They aren't looking for a confrontation, but they're being forced into visibility. It's a self-protective move.
They're just reacting to a threat to their home.
That's the core insight. They're not aggressive, they're reactionary. And if we keep pushing, if these intrusions continue, the Codex predicts a very specific and very global apex event.
Okay, and this is where the source material gets. Well, it gets terrifyingly specific. The prediction is tied directly to global conflict.
Yes, the Codex is absolutely definitive about the tipping point. The self-protective reflex goes from being a local issue to a global intervention when human military activity escalates to the point of a perceived nuclear threat.
So not necessarily launch, but the active preparation for one.
The arming of silos, the deployment of delivery systems during a major crisis. That's the line.
And the action they take in response. This is predicted to be the moment, the single event that causes the global NHI realization.
The prediction is that it will be instantaneous, total, and global. In a single, synchronized moment, the NHI will trigger a neutralization measure.
A neutralization measure, what does that mean?
It means, and I'm quoting, every nuclear weapon on the planet will be rendered inert.
Every single one.
Yep.
Disabled.
Digitally and chemically, all at once. A planetary-scale technological checkmate.
That's an astonishing claim. How could anyone even prove that? How would they stop it from being written off as some kind of mass technical glitch?
The event is designed to be irrefutable. The Codex says this neutralization will be detectable globally in real time and broadcast to the entire world.
So every military, every intelligence agency, every seismic station...
They will all see the same impossible thing at the same time. The world's entire nuclear arsenal just switched off by an unknown outside force.
Think about the geopolitical chaos of that moment. I mean, the entire doctrine of deterrence just gone in an instant.
It's a complete paradigm shift. The act itself, preventing our own self-destruction, is the defining moment. It's them drawing a final line in the sand. You can mess around locally, but you will not destroy the entire grid.
So nuclear war is off the table, but what follows sounds like its own kind of societal collapse. The Codex calls it the event stream cascade.
Yeah, that's their term for when the shit hits the fan. That neutralization event just dissolves our version of reality.
And what comes next?
An explosion of what they call viral awareness. Suddenly, all that citizen footage, bioluminescent craft, weird rogue waves, transmedium objects, it all goes viral. Exponentially.
The traditional media wouldn't be able to keep up. They rely on official sources, verification.
And there won't be any. Governments will try to push narratives, drones, weather anomalies, mass hysteria, but it won't work.
Why not?
Because of platforms like TikTok and X. The sheer volume of raw, globally consistent evidence from everyday people will just bypass all the official gatekeepers. It becomes undeniable for the average person.
And the human reaction to this existential shock, it's predicted to split along cultural lines, right?
A deep societal fracture.
Yeah.
The source predicts that in the West, the reaction will be all about material anxiety.
So widespread hoarding, food shortages, localized violence, fear of losing control.
Exactly. But in the East, the Codex predicts the rise of large-scale spiritual movements. They'll try to find theological or philosophical ways to integrate this new reality into their worldview.
It sounds like a period of just intense, species-wide trauma. The Codex calls it psychic fracturing.
That's the mass mental break. It happens when your foundational beliefs that humans are in charge, that our weapons are the ultimate power, are just shattered in a single moment. It's mass existential confusion.
So how do we get through that? Does the Codex offer a solution?
It does. It talks about a process called resonance healing.
Okay, define that for us. Is that like meditation?
It's more of a cognitive process. It's about individually tuning your own mind to the frequency of this shared reality grid, acknowledging the new reality and finding a calm, non-reactive state. It's the tool for managing the shock.
And we won't have to do it alone, right? It introduces this concept of the signal weaver.
Right. The signal weaver is the intermediary, an interpreter. There are people who can naturally understand the symbolic signals of NHI communication.
So not language, like words.
No, more like complex patterns. Think bioluminescent displays in the water or atmospheric phenomena that actually carry information. The weaver's job is to help the rest of us bridge that understanding gap.
This suggests the long-term integration isn't a treaty signing. It's something much quieter.
Exactly. It's a reformation of human society that will take decades. The Codex says acceptance will come as a quiet, inevitable process.
One video, one missile silo deactivation at a time.
Yeah. The world just slowly, piece by piece, absorbs this larger reality.
Which brings us to the final mandate, the one for you, the listener. It's about personal responsibility in the middle of all this chaos. What the Codex calls sovereignty of mind.
And this is the operational core for anyone living in that post-realization world. Sovereignty of mind is the mandate to reject the panic, reject the false narratives that will be flying everywhere,
It means maintaining your own mental clarity.
and demanding authenticity, embracing the real unfolding truth of the situation, whatever it is. It's basically a call for an extremely high level of critical thinking and self-control.
And this whole concept, this sovereignty, it's anchored by those symbolic systems in the source material. The operator's mark, the sigil systems.
Yes, they're not just decoration. They're the framework for how to adapt. The Codex's their purpose is to guide humanity to become sovereign participants in the ongoing unfolding of the grid.
So we graduate from being passive subjects to active, self-aware co-inhabitants of a much bigger reality.
A multi-species reality.
Yes. Wow. Okay. This has been an incredibly dense deep dive. So to recap the core idea, the Seattled Codex frames NHI revelation not as some outside event, but as a fundamental step in human evolution.
Right, and it's triggered by us, by our own intrusions into the oceanic 71% of the planet, which leads to this unavoidable defensive act of technological checkmate.
If you connect that to the bigger picture, the revelation forces humanity to grow up, to shed its belief that it's the only thing that matters.
It has to. That act of nuclear neutralization forces us to evolve, because it proves there's a reality larger than the material one we've known, one where our ultimate self-destructive toys are just taken away from us.
And that leaves a really important question for you to think about as you process all this. If the ultimate form of technological escalation nuclear war is just externally and instantly neutralized, what new boundaries do we have to respect? And how do you achieve sovereignty if your ability to completely destroy yourself is taken off the table?
That's the paradox, isn't it?
It's the ultimate paradox the Codex leaves us with, and it's something for you to explore as you prepare for the shift.